welcome to Delicious Discussions, a show brought to you by ADPList and myself, Brandon Groce, that is dedicated to bringing senior-level designers and creatives alike to our design community to talk about their design and career journey, challenges they face getting into the industry, how they got into the position they are today, while also sharing tips and advice to aspiring designers and how they can reverse engineer a similar path for themselves or how they can pave the best path for themselves. On top of that, at the end of each of our live sessions is an opportunity for you, the audience, to ask our guests the questions you've been itching to get the answers to and get their direct feedback. So with that said, without any further ado, let's jump into today's session and introduce you to today's fine guest. With that said, let's jump in. What is going on, guys? Welcome to Delicious Discussions, episode 2, this time with again, another amazing guest. We have Jarell Alvarez. Sounds like a rapper name. And by the way, he can actually spit a couple of bars. Maybe we'll get him to do that today. So with that said, I'm not going to steal his thunder. I'm going to let him introduce himself. And let him shine by himself. But I also wanted to say, what's going on, Jason? We have Richa, Rada, a lot of his BFFs and also supporters and community out in the chat. Thank you guys for coming. And also the ADP List fam, what's good? All right, what's going on, Jerrell? What's happening?
Man, how dare you? I told you that in confidence. Now we
got
gotta
bars.
make it a thing.
Yes.
Oh my god.
So, dude,
yeah.
tell us a little bit about yourself. We have some of your own community in the chat, but for those who are not familiar with you, who are you? What do you do? And yeah, just give us the spiel.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Jerrell. Nice to meet you all. I'm a product designer in Vancouver, Canada, BC. For those who don't know, right now I'm also working. I founded a community at the start of the pandemic, so it's called Vancouver Design Check-in. Just a place for casual conversations, bi-weekly matchups. Jason's involved, Rada's involved, Maggie's up in here, Rex is there. Sweet to see you guys. And yeah, I'm also a product designer at Copperleaf Tech, where I'm working on enterprise solutions for for utility companies to help them make better decisions for a better world.
Very nice, man. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys are seeing some artifacts in the video, guys, it's really just my fault. Jerrell is just so beautiful, so delicious that the internet is not carrying over his entire waveform over the internet. So I'm trying to fix that on my end, but I think it looks much better now. All right, so dude, let's talk about this. We were talking yesterday, and guys, feel free if there's any questions that you want to ask Jerrell, drop them in the chat. We know you guys are big fans of his, but today we're really gonna, Jerrell really wanted to talk about mental health, but also I would love to jump into the beginning of things. We were talking a little bit yesterday of how you literally utilized your community to get into the position you are today at Copperleaf. And I really think that it's super important and it's something that everybody should be able to know that they can do. So I'd really love for you to kind of just take us back and kind of the scenario that you gave me yesterday, be like, yo, Brandon, I got laid off and I had to figure out something, I had to figure out what I needed to do to get where I needed to and wanted to be. So if you can kind of back up the history line for us and kind of, tell us where things started, where things dropped, and how you, came back up and gracing us with your presence today.
How far do you want to go back, Brandon? You got to be careful with that.
Yeah, this will be a 2-hour podcast, guys. Let's go, because I think the specific portion that I would really love to jump into is right at your last job, where that's when you started building a community and you realized you needed to do that.
Okay. So I was working. So I got out of university. Well, it was a technical institute. I was doing development, marketing, and design. Before all of this, I didn't even know I wanted to become a designer. I was scared of Adobe. So I love Adobe now. I love you guys. But I was scared. I was overwhelmed. I didn't have anything that I wanted to do. I knew I was a creative person, but I had no output. I had nothing to put this. So I put a lot of my creativity in music and reading, but nowhere else. So I kind of learned design at school. I thought I was going to become a developer. You didn't even know I wanted to go to school for design. It was my aunt just came from Winnipeg. She's living there. And it's hey, my nephew is making this amount of money in web developer. And, my brain is money. I like money and that sounds livable. Let's do it. So then I chose the program, didn't get in. It was full. Then a year later, doing whatever kind of courses, I got into that program and then got an internship at a company, a startup, working on automotive dealerships, websites and stuff like that. So a lot of visual design, nothing that I really want to do, which is UX. And so after that, while I was there, I kind of rose to senior within 2 years, managing designers and the team, working on a lot of initiatives that my manager couldn't do at the time, and then got let go. It was a horror night. 25 people got let go out of a 75 max capacity team, and we didn't know they were actually going to tell us like, oh, we're actually moving into a smaller office, and you guys are safe. And then literally 3 days before we were going to move, they're like, oh, can you pack up your personal items so it doesn't get lost when we move? We're like, yeah, sure, why not? We're just gonna, you're not gonna lie to us, right? Surrounded by different HR people from the motherland, and we got sent into a room. I was shaking. I've never been speechless in my life. I was completely speechless.
That's insane, man.
Yeah, like we were collecting bodies outside as they were getting fired. Like there were people apparently in the back room who didn't get axed, and they were fine. And like so it would be a yes or no. It was very binary, right? And so when we were there, like it was a mourning period. So I took a break, and I said, okay, I'm gonna feel like shit for 2 weeks, like really, really bad, and that's okay. But I'm gonna have to let myself feel that, and just not judge myself. So I was in a very hazy area. I was very, I don't remember anything those 2 weeks. I was just working on like a side project at the time, and just trying to drown myself in anything. So yeah, it's just like, I'm just gonna take time for myself. And then I slowly worked on my resume, my portfolio, and I've never, so before all this, I never had any contacts. I never did any networking. I was terrified of networking. I was terrified of going to events by myself. I went to like creative mornings every once a month, and I never talked to anyone. I'd be like, I'd be that guy in the line, be like, so coffee. And I talked to one guy once at the event, and he's like, we're chit-chatting a little bit, and I swear to God, I went back to the event to sit down. I'm like, oh my God, do I have to talk to him now? Or do I have to talk to him? Oh crap, I don't want to talk to him anymore. Oh no, why did I do this? So, yeah, I had no conceivable notion of what community is, what networking is. I was just overwhelmed by it all, and so I thought I could just do it myself. I thought I can rely on people that I knew, and that's kind of was my mentality when I started looking for work again. Like in March before COVID hit. Right before COVID hit.
So quick question, man. I think this is actually really interesting. And for those of you guys in the chat who are saying there's an echo, I'm working on it. So if you guys see my eyes diverting to the left while my man Jerrell is giving story time, that's the reason. But to dive into that, what changed? I'm sure you're about to go into it, but I would really love to focus on, or dive into rather, what made that shift for you where you were like, oh, networking is the thing I'm having trouble with, and that is also the answer, which I'm sure made you decide to build your community. So what allowed you to come to that conclusion?
Great. So 2 weeks into COVID, I was scared. I was alone in my apartment. I couldn't see anyone. I was so unsure what the future was. And I remember one Friday morning, I was thinking, what am I going to do? Because I needed to get a job by November. I was on EI, which is, government subsidies. And so I had to think, how am I going to get out of this situation? Then I said, okay, so I had like this matrix moment where my brain started going 5-10 years into the future. And I'm like, what do I want? I want to be a design director. I want to lead teams. Okay, how are you going to get there? And so I went through this like question and answer. How are you going to get there? Well, I need a job. How are you going to get a job? And then I was like, okay, so I'm going to apply. No, that's not going to work. So I kept running into little walls. And then I'm like, shit. I need to network.
Right.
And I remember sitting on that feeling. I'm like, oh God, what do I do? Oh God, what do I do? What do I do? LinkedIn. Okay, great. LinkedIn's a place. Okay, how do I use LinkedIn? Oh God. Oh God. Okay, wait. Okay, so I went on LinkedIn that morning. I was casually perusing. I was still feeling overwhelmed by it all because I don't know how to use it. And then I was like, okay, okay. I'm seeing what people are saying. I need help. People are willing to help in this time. Maybe I can just kind of utilize that. So I started putting myself out there. I'm like, hey, I'm Jerrell. I need a job. I have this amount of experience, I do this and that, and I provide this type of value. I did that a bunch of times to other people's statuses because they were also looking to help others.
Right.
So I reached out to one person, Amy. Amy, you might be listening to this. I always talk about you. You're the best. And I reached out to her. Shout out to Amy all the time. I reached out to her, and she worked for the school that I graduated from, and she's like the student alumni coordinator. So I said, I need help. And she's like, and I literally told her, I'm like, I don't know how to ask for help. This is not of my nature. Oop, I'm going to be back. Don't worry about that.
Camera overheated, guys. Look, listen, I told you guys before. The sexiness on his side of the internet is a lot. So I'm happy you guys are hanging out with the technical difficulties. Still I know what the audio thing is, but I'm glad you guys are here to hang out with just casual conversation, and just hanging out. So we're not super like high and dry today. So thanks for hanging out, and back to you, Jerrell. I didn't mean to cut your story. Just trying to safeguard while you hit the on button on your camera.
Yeah. Oh man, struggle. So yeah, that's kind of where that all started. People started to reach out to me who are looking to help. I started to look for more people. I started to join a couple of communities that have rejected me in the past. And then I started to ask myself, how do I separate myself from the pack? And what can I do to help others? Because I started to realize I can't focus on my own problems because it's everyone's problems. It's like my life is just me in this fishbowl right now.
Yeah.
And the only way to get out of that fishbowl is to extend a hand, whatever I can. So I started giving portfolio advice because nobody else was doing it.
Right.
And it frustrated me. And this comes along where a lot of my theories with community was, I'm frustrated. I'm going to do this instead. People are muting themselves in Zoom conferences. I'm going to create a place where people don't unmute. I'm going to just do everything the opposite of what annoys me. And that's going to be the community that I build.
That's perfect. I feel like that's the good part of being in our own fishbowls at the moment. It's just, it has set aside so much time for people, whether they were, not saying that getting removed from a job is the best thing that would cause a heart attack on set, but the time that we've had, whether desired or not, it's allowed us to like sit and kind of figure out what we want to have for ourselves, what we want to produce, what we want in the world. And I feel like through that, just hearing your story for the second time, we're kind of putting this together. Not only you, but seeing ADPList, the design buddies, and so many other communities, they're like popped up in the last year and a half. And I think it's because people understand that they have the power to make what they want, and also they don't have to wait for somebody to tell them that they can or can't. They're just like, oh, I want this. Oh, I'm just going to go out and make it. And so why I really wanted to talk to you in the first place is I think you're an amazing, I know you're an amazing example of just like, hey, I wanted this. This is how I'm going to make it happen. And boom, there we go. It's really not as challenging as most people think. It's just like, but did you start though?
Yeah, so I can even get to the nooks and crannies of how I started. Like, I was watching Midnight Gospel, and on the second episode, it's a great show. It's basically a podcaster who's a comedian, is interviewing a bunch of people, usually comedians, right? And so he was asking her, how did you start your community? And she's like, well, I'm a lonely person, and I said, let's find two lonely people like me and meet in the same place every single week. Then that lonely person, like let's say Bob and Fred met Teresa and Alan through word of mouth, and then through word of mouth it just kept spreading and spreading and spreading, but it only started with two people. So when I was at this conference last year for design, I didn't like how it was ran because I didn't like the style. I didn't like how you had to unmute yourself. I didn't like feeling like I was at school in the front of lecture, and you have to unmute yourself, and you're just that guy that's talking and taking up the whole space, and I hated that. So I said, okay, who's from Vancouver? People started popping in. I was like, great. I found people from Vancouver. I've been seeing this Vancouver channel at that community, but nobody was talking. So I was like, hey guys, I have literally this idea right now on a walk because of this and I feel inspired just because of this one line from this TV show that I watched last night. Do you guys want to be a part of this little thing where we just chit chat? And then they gave me their emails, so I got buy-in. They DM'd me their emails. I put them into this little Slack group that I just created in 2 seconds because that's easy, and it was being used by that community, so why not, right? It's accessible, and anybody could have it during work. So I have them in. I have this bi-weekly chat. I made this Google Calendar because it's really easy to maintain. It's really scalable, right? Have it recurring every 2 weeks. Never miss a beat. And then right before we had our conversation, I had my Google Doc. I wrote down all what community means to me. I wrote down all these different tenets. I wrote down all these value statements. And then when we did our talk, we were just like, what's up? And then we talked for 2.5 hours. I throughout the Google Doc, I didn't ask those questions that I had prepared. I didn't look at anything. You know why? Yeah. Because we created our community the way we wanted to. I started to realize that I can leverage people to create their own worlds the way they want to through my platform that I built for them, through connections, through organic conversations. That's the only way to do it. Don't tell them what to do. Don't tell them what to say. Don't tell them how to act.
I love that, man. And you actually use the word that I love the most. It's like little worlds where I feel like, and this is why I love technology. With technology, it actually decentralizes what can actually be made. If you don't like something, things are so accessible nowadays, whether you know code, even today. Like if you honestly don't know code, if you don't know how to design, there is something that helps you get what you need so that you can make this stuff. For example, you were asking me about like who made my backdrop. I don't got time to do all that. I just know who to find or what to find in order to facilitate the thing that I wanted at super low cost, and it's achievable. And it's, what I think is everybody can take is like anything that you dream of, it's just take initiative, figure out what puzzle pieces you need to get. In your case, you were like, well, I just want the people who want the same world that I want, and let's just come together and because we have found each other on the basis of we all like the same stuff, you don't have to like artificially make something to like funnel people through. It's just, hey, we're all people of the same volition, or we're attracted to one another, attracted to the same things. Let's just huddle together. And that's why I love the internet. That, it's, wow. I don't know, guys, I'm so sorry. I don't know why
it's happening again. All right, Matrix 5?
This is fake. This is not even, this isn't real, guys.
We're actually not people.
We're actually not people. This whole thing is pre-recorded. No, we're just playing. But I think it's a cool effect. You kind of look like a little NFT. You know what I'm saying? Exactly.
All right, screenshot my face, Rada, Jason, if you want to make me into NFT. I'm letting you do it.
Exactly. So let's talk about this. I know this is probably not the actually we'll leave that for later. So with all the things that you're doing right now, you're a designer, you're a writer, you're a founder of community. Those are like, that's content, that's literally almost like, do you have any business venture ideas? Like do you have any future plans with VDC, or what are the plans?
I forgot to add mentor at ADPList, but
oh yes, right, ADPList. Yeah.
Shout out.
It's in the bio. We didn't have to say it. It's rolling across our screen. Y'all see it.
That's a great question, and that's probably why I was listening to Kanye West this morning and last night, and I'm going to send you that podcast where they're talking about how Kanye West builds his own world. And at some points, and he literally called Yeezus, he believed he was a god. And he was saying like, if I take this kind of form that you tell me, like, oh, I'm a pimp, oh, I'm like all of these kind of labels that you associate with my look, right? But if I say I'm a god, that's bad. You're going to get upset at me.
Yeah.
I felt like a god last year. When I started promoting this community, when I saw that 4 months later, no one was really showing up, but that feeling that I had initially with Max and Andre at the first meeting, I needed to replicate that. And I knew that there was something here. And then I promoted it because that Vancouver channel was quiet, and I
Yeah.
just wrote out the text. I looked at it an hour later. I was like, yeah, it's legible. Send it, whatever. And then 40 people came. I was so shocked. Some senior designers came. I'm like, okay, this is something. They came to my biweekly. I was so excited because they came. They had some great thoughts. We talked afterwards. It unlocked like this new world that I didn't know existed at all.
Yeah.
I didn't have this when I was in school. I was looking for it. I was rejected. And then I had it. And then I started to realize that there's opportunities everywhere. I saw that not a lot of people were doing what I'm doing. Is just, what if we band together? What if we create a community of communities? What if we make a website where community is accessible, is not hard to find, where people can gather and not feel filtered or have troubles getting in, but they can moderate themselves and thrive together and work with each other and check in with each other's mental health, physical health, where they're at in life, their job. That's really the story behind the name. And I just kept thinking, I remember I had a brain blast like goddamn Jimmy Neutron. I'm like, where can I go? What is possible? There's literally goddamn no limits. Like, I felt on God level so many times last year. I'd be in like different shows or different live streams, different events, just in the chatter boxes, like saying, hey, this is how I can help you. Hey, this is some advice. People don't do that. People don't help each other out, even in chats, in like Zoom events and stuff. I was there. I was playing video games literally on my other screen, eating snacks, looking at the other chat, and then typing it out and helping people. And then I'd get like 12 LinkedIn notifications pop in, and then I'd just like have to talk to people. And then people were asking me like, oh, what's your community about? I'd do one-on-ones. I thrived on doing one-on-one organic connections. And that's how the word of mouth, and that's how the community kind of started to tumble into a beautiful snowball effect.
I love that, man. It's like you said, most people don't do it. They either sit back, they wait for something. There's two types of things. Like, there's huge communities where they have a lot of people come in, but how many people stay? Mm-hmm. And people stay for when they actually when there's value that is exchanged. Like, nobody cares. I forget who says this, but nobody cares until you care about them. And I have no idea who said it. Do you know where that quote came from?
No, I don't, but it's genius.
I don't know. I probably made that shit up right now. Who knows? I stole one of your bars, Jerrell.
Brandon, you're good. No, it's
okay. I made it up on the spot, guys, but it sounds good. No, it's from somewhere. I don't know. Maybe somebody whistled it out. I don't know. But I think regardless of whoever said it, I think it's true. Like, I might go to an event because I was interested in something, but will you retain me? The people who went to these events that you were kind of sitting in on, you actually showed additional value. You weren't just like, where at some events they have something to sell you. The content is there to learn, and then like on the back end they're like, oh, so you should either be like a client of ours or whatever. It's typically a presentation, but you were there kind of like with people asking questions. You have nothing to gain other than, I'm a good person. Oh, I have the answer to this question. Yo, check this out. Check that out.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
It takes 5 seconds, and the theory was that if you show up for others, they'll show up for you.
Right.
And someone said Dale Carnegie in the chat, but like, I just kept believing, if you keep showing up for others, if you show up to events, if you show up in chats, if you show up in communities, if you show up anywhere, people will rise for you. People will fight for you. People will notice that. Like, Chris Dove put out a great Instagram post once, I think, and it was about branding. And I started to realize how to brand myself. He said, like, if you go on Instagram and you find someone that's posting something similar to you, and now I use this on LinkedIn, and then you just say like, hey, I love your content, kind of thing, and you just compliment the man, or compliment whoever it is, right? And I did that on LinkedIn, like, hey, this is great, I just was positive around, right? Then you use their audience, their 500,000, to filter to you. So on LinkedIn, people see like, hey, this person commented on this. They'll see that post. They'll see you. Their followers will also see you. then they'll notice that you're trying to give value to their audience. Then they'll come to you as well.
Yeah, man. That's like this is like a cheap little hack for everybody. So this is actually something you can do too. I mean, everybody. But on my way to growing on Instagram, I essentially did that, but I hired out the engagement. So I essentially just told them, hey, everybody that is like posting and hashtag UI UX design, like their portfolio stuff, just like here's this sounds so wrong, but here's a list of like words to utilize in commenting on said work. So go in this hashtag, look for this type of work, comment A through Z. And so when you
No, you're right though, because you have to, for me, I had to separate my brain a little bit, right? Like I had to kind of almost have a backlog of words, a backlog of dictionary words that I use constantly, so that my brain doesn't feel like it's being hammered all the time by information, because it always is. Like our phone literally gives me like 200 notifications a day, and it's annoying. The only way that I can kind of wade through the waters and get to my values and how I bring is to have like a kind of dictionary of what to say. You know, and people forget about you. People are thinking about themselves all the time. They're constantly looking in the mirror all the time. So you have to remind them of who you are, or else they'll move on to someone who's louder and more abrasive or more like Kanye.
Exactly. And I'm so glad that you did Kanye, because I think he's so, we don't have to dive into it today, but I think he's so just misunderstood and misrepresented through media. But he's honestly like a really amazing, I think he's a genius. Obviously he is, but I honestly think a lot of the stuff he says is taken out of context. But if you actually watch full interviews with him, it's just like, oh shit, that stuff like actually makes sense. And I think we should think more in line with, because the way that he talks, I'm not going to speak for him, I don't think I can, but how he talks is the individual has power. And I feel like through a lot of things, we are taught or programmed to think that we don't have power, have to wait for somebody to say that we have power. And really the difference between where we are and where we would like to be is the knowledge of how to either execute on whatever or build whatever that we want. And, you know, some people just actually put it, like you were saying, you watched Chris Do talk about the, another iteration of Gary V's, like, I forget what it's called, 25 cents shit. And then I kind of like smashed some other, taking that and then some automation stuff that I learned from hiring overseas and be like, hey, go do this. And so, you know, it's just everything is like knowledge. I didn't mean to steal that, but I just think we're on good things, Jerrell. That's all.
Gotcha. Yeah, no. I feel that. So right now, I guess where I'm at with my community is that I'm starting to take a step back. With VDC, we have about 30 mentors who are doing on ADPList, and we're doing our own events and stuff. But I'm still like on this real mission to put Vancouver on the stage. I remember, I'm sorry, I'm going to make fun of you for a second, but I said Vancouver, you didn't know what that was. And I was like, oh God, boy. So we're going to teach people Vancouver. Vancouver is in the West Coast, Pacific, Northwest. We're right beside the Pacific Ocean. You know, we're here. We have tech, right? And so I'm trying to get tech companies to pay us better. I'm trying to get tech companies to pay us a fair wage. I'm trying to get tech companies to have more hubs here, like Amazon's coming around. Great, let's have some more, because we're not competitive in America, and that bothers the hell out of me. People, when they're like, oh, you're from Canada, are you from Toronto? I got that default so much, and it bothered me so much, because I started to realize, like, if you keep defaulting to Toronto, that means that other companies are defaulting Toronto. That means that there's less remote opportunities for us. So I have a jobs referral channel where they can say, hey, I have a remote job from, like, I don't know, Thailand, and Rada's hiring, in her company, and you can work for us from remote. Like, that's a connection that I'm trying to pull. That's a connection that I'm trying to make for Vancouver, and I'm trying to get us the fair wage that we deserve and the jobs that we need, because it's not here. The city is so quiet and it's so isolated, and people know that it's a Vancouver thing.
That's actually crazy, man. I'm just gonna have to you said you were gonna make fun of me, but you kind of like went back on it. But I'm gonna do it myself right now. But I actually, before we got on the call today, I didn't realize, guys, you have to realize if you watch me, I'm just like such an airhead. All I know is like pixels and technology. Like the outside, to put it in your mind, I don't know where I live. I have not memorized my address. I know like my virtual business address better than where I actually live. So with that context, I didn't realize that I was actually talking, one of my good friends actually lives in Vancouver, and we were talking about like literally what you were talking about, just the perception of Vancouver. And anyways, I don't know why I took that detour, but yeah, I think it's a great mission to be like, yo, let's rep for where we are, and show people what we're made of, and that we're capable.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It bothers me. Again, I'm doing the things that the opposite of what bothers me. So I do it my way too. I didn't want to do it. There's no one. I don't find that there's really anyone in the design community, the tech community here that's trying to do what I'm doing. So why not do it? There's a space, there's a gap, there's a niche involved. Find your niche and then just full brunt through it. Like, I love these kind of live events. I didn't do this before COVID. No one did this before COVID. And look, we adapt, we change, we grow, yes. We learn. We understand our mission, we understand our values. And then we do a Kanye thing and we pivot and we try different things. And then we say things that we haven't said before, like what my mission is, what I'm trying to get at. Like, I just want to empower others. I want to empower other designers in the community. I want to say, hey, you can do this too. It's not hard. And if you need help, I'm here for you. I have a platform. I have connections. Let me know and I'll bend over backwards for you because you're here with me in this world that we've created together.
I love that. And I want you to kind of put it succinctly, and with me asking this question. Did you know all that, like the direction that VDC is kind of taking, the direction that you're taking? Did you? Because what most people think is you have to figure everything out before you go. You said all you wanted to do is start a community, and then as you went, you pivoted, things changed. So for people who are watching who want to take a step but haven't taken the step, what would you recommend for them? Would you tell them to sit down and plan like a 20-point plan and then go, or just do one step at a time?
I'm telling you, from the beginning, I only wanted 30 people in my community. I only wanted to hang out with 30 engaged people talking about whatever they want to talk about. And I just wanted to sit down in a little cafe. I had the cafe in my mind. And just us chit-chatting and having a good time and going to a bar and just having a good time. Like, not talking about design all the time, just like actually talking about ourselves and just connecting on things at baseline level, Yeah. And I'm also going to call to a podcast called That'll Never Work. It was a co-founder of Netflix. And he talks to people that have ideas and helps them. And these are people who probably heard That'll Never Work because he says you need to just do the thing. You need to, if you have an idea, what's the lowest barrier to entry? What's the lowest cost? What's going to get just a snippet? What's the 20% of effort for the 80% value? What can you do to learn really quickly, fail fast, and then iterate on that? I just said, here's a Slack channel. Here's a Google Meet link. Done. Like, I didn't have anything. I didn't even know what to write in the description. I'm like, in the description of each channel, I'm like, I don't know, here's stuff that we want to talk about. Like, I just created on the spot. Then I learned along the way. Then I started to understand my values. Then I understand my mission. Then I understood where I can go. Then I started to see opportunities where other people saw that it was too much work. It was too hard. I started to see what other people didn't see because I was doing it.
I agree, man. And I was actually, while you're telling me this, I was actually just thinking, there's a gap kind of in, well, it's not necessarily a gap, but what I'm thinking here is you learned as you went. You didn't buy a course to be like, here's how you build your community and like drop 2,000.
There is that there's out there. It's out there. I know. I've seen some YouTubers. I've seen some famous Instagrams that they're like, oh, I'm going to learn how to build a community. And then I've seen some of those communities actually, and I've been watching a little bit, and it's quiet and it's dead.
Yeah, man. And so part of, like, on their end, I don't know where these hiccups coming from. They market to what they have semi-achieved through numbers, but the engagement isn't there. But what I was trying to get to is you just sought the information when the problems you were coming up against came. And so you just one step at a time, one step at a time, one step at a time. With these courses, even if they're good, right? They give you the knowledge, but you still have to do it. And I've paid for a good amount of courses myself, and I don't think I've really even finished them. And I've probably spent like $20,000 on just like courses, and they're good, but they're not as from A to Z as they sell you on. They give you the knowledge, but you still have to figure out like, okay, well, I came up against this problem. Well, I have to come up with my own solution for this. And some of the knowledge that they gave you in there, you can apply, but it's never like linear. You have to, at the end of the day, like just go see what walls you slap up against and figure it out regardless of whether you paid for the course or not.
Yeah. Like, for example, I'm painting right now. Like, it's a new little hobby, and I could have gone either two ways. One, check out tutorials and whatever on YouTube, go do some courses, go do all that kind of theory work. And then eventually I get into the painting. The problem with that is that now you look at the painting like, wow, I have so much knowledge, but I don't know what to do. What I actually did was like, what do I like? What do I not like? What do I usually look at when I get into an art gallery? Okay, I'm going to do something like that. Okay, great. I did that. Now I'm going to try what I just learned from that. I want to try something else. I'm going to try that. And I'm working on like this painting where it's taking me like 4 or 5 weeks, and it's very it's very layered, and it's very multi-leveled, right? But the first one was just me throwing paint around and just like kind of making an abstract painting just to make an abstract painting. Now I'm actually putting in metaphors. I'm putting in different things that actually that I've experienced with, so that it makes an impact on me. But I'm just doing it for myself. That is a very fine line that not a lot of people can see. And so it's a waste of time. It's like a waste of time to you can read maybe a little snippet of what it is, but you've probably experienced it. You've probably seen it, and you could probably do it the way that you want to, however you want to do it. And that's the way it should be done.
I agree, man. And you said something I want you to answer this. What do you think about, will you be able to beat somebody who doesn't work for money versus somebody who does work for money? Actually, we're going to open up to an even broader topic that is very spicy in the design industry, which is, should you do unpaid work or not? It's a sect of the conversation. It's not totally. But this is my position, and I would love to hear your position. You cannot outwork somebody who builds something out of their own passion versus somebody who's paid to do that thing. Because whether or not the person who's good burning, this is my thing. This is finishing my thought. Somebody who's just doing it just because is going to burn the midnight oil, just going to do it. They're going to read how to do it while they're taking the shit on the toilet. Every moment in waking hour, if somebody's really excited about it, is going to be doing that thing. And if somebody, who's just paid to do that, I don't think they'll be able to compete. But what are your thoughts and repositioning of the statement?
So I guess I'm gonna look at this from a community lens, less of a design lens, because I guess I just want to eat. Like I value my work, and like I have experience, and I want to eat. Like I treasure my values.
True. Like people should be paid for the value. Like that's why I was saying it's in the conversation, but not.
Exactly. But when it comes to community stuff, right? I have like no plans to directly monetize my community whatsoever. But do I have plans to make something out of what I have? Yes. Is it gonna be to charge community members? No. Am I gonna sell my paintings one day? Maybe. That sounds fun. Am I still gonna paint? Yes, I'm still gonna paint. Yeah, I'm gonna do it for fun. I'm gonna give it as gifts. I'm gonna do it because I enjoy it, right? Ooh, that's actually a good idea. I never thought about giving it as gifts, and now I will. Ooh, a side note.
We got Jason in here saying, "Put the paintings up in VDC."
I can grab it right now where it's at. It's not ready yet. It's not done. It's like the first layer, and that's how I kind of like to look at Like if you want to do something, like I love researching stuff. I love researching products. I love researching different elements. I do that for fun. I do my community for fun.
Yep.
I do these events for fun because I learned how to have fun with it. It's not something that I just felt like is a chore. It became a joy, and it becomes fulfillment. And anything can be that for you in life. You just have to have the right mentality.
I agree, man. It like a lot of energy, or at least for me, and I'm sure with other people, if there's fun and energy in it, like you're gonna figure out how to do the thing. And that's actually what brings me to, how do you learn and figure out how to overcome your challenges? Like, what is there a process that you're like, okay, something came up, I have a certain step or process for myself, or a way of researching people who have the same problem? Like, what is your initial reaction to when you face challenges for yourself?
Yeah.
And also your camera. You turned it back on.
I'm back.
All right, cool. We got some exercise over there, dog. You're just hitting the button.
My abs are putting to work today. What are you doing to me, man?
8-pack, dog.
You gotta come to Vancouver. I gotta book you a flight. You know where flights are. You know what airplanes are. Anyway, I'm gonna take you on a plane one day. So, going back to what you said, I don't really have a process. I do go on walks. I do think about things really intentionally, and I spend a lot of time at home washing dishes, reflecting. Dishes and in the shower is like one of my best thinking times when I brush my teeth, because it's like something that you do every single day. But then if there's some problem in your mind, or if you don't know what to say to someone, I like to just think about it subconsciously while I'm doing something else. It's like how my brain works. So I have like a little fidget thing here that I just created for myself. It's like a little pillow, and I just love squishing it.
We need an animation. You need to record yourself of just like squish it. Squish it with your hand. I wasn't looking over to my thing. I thought it was like a pillow that you were like, pillow that you like squish.
This is a bed. No, this is a bed. Right. Like you can squish it, and it's got like memory. It's got like this. See?
Is that the purple?
Yeah, it's purple. It's a purple mattress. Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, man, I love that thing. Saved my back.
Oh, Matt. So here's the one. We'll give this example. So we kind of touch upon mental health, and I've been doing mentoring for 6 months, and I'll quickly tell you the story about that. So Winona is a community partner lead at ADPList. She was there in last September, and I was starting to be like, okay, I want to partner with everyone. You know, I want to take Vancouver to world stage. I want to partner with like every goddamn community out there, all the tech. I want to open up the tech bubble for Vancouver, kind of deal. Like I was on that wave. And then I talked to Winona. We chit-chatted a little bit. She asked me like important things about my goals, my values, my plans, right? And then I had a response, and then she didn't reply for like a couple of weeks. Love you, Winona. So in December, in December, we were doing an event. There was an event, and I was like, yeah, you know what? I'm kind of tired, but I'll go here anyway. Why not? So again, I'm playing video games. Winona's in the chat. I'm like, in the event. They're like talking about networking. Like, oh, you gotta always answer the people back. You know, you gotta. And then I'm like, Winona, you didn't answer me back. She's like, I did. And I was like, oh wait, she invited me to this event. What am I doing? So we're like, okay, we'll talk. We're DMing each other. We'll talk. Okay, we talked the next week. We chit-chatted. You know, I thought it was a 30-minute conversation. 2.5 hours. We're laughing our ass off. We're like having such a good time. I didn't expect it. I didn't come in with any expectations. I just wanted to chit-chat with her about whatever she's doing. And then it came to like, she asked me 3 times, like, okay, you should be a mentor. I'm like, ugh, I've been rejected before, but fine. She's like, okay, I'll put in a good word for you for Felix. I'm like, ugh, fine. So then literally 10 minutes after the conversation, I was like, do I wait for her or do I do it myself? I'm going to do it myself. Strike when the iron's hot. So I went onto ADPList. I went onto his agenda. I looked at, he has time on Christmas Day, 7 p.m. So at 7 p.m. after dinner, I went into my parents' room, grabbed my mom's laptop, and then just called Felix. And we had a conversation for like an hour and a half on my mom's bed. My back was hurting. I didn't care. My legs were sore. And then I got into being a mentor. I was like, Felix, you know, what's the percentage of getting inside? He's like 30%. I'm like, wow. So, you know, that's how it's done. And then I started mentoring. Now, I loved it, and I probably I wow, I bought bit more than I can chew at first.
Yeah.
Pared down my calendar to once a week. And then I started to get a little mentorship from other people, and I didn't like it. Again, I'm doing the opposite of what I didn't like. So I don't like to be told what to think or what to learn. I also want to ask questions. Most of these mentors were giving me like a 25-minute spiel, not listening to my side of things. So guess what I did? I listened to Healthy Gamer GG. It's a psychologist who's a who teaches Harvard med students. And I was listening to this for fun because I started to realize, like, God damn, this is great. He's talking to live streamers. He's figuring their stuff out. And I started to realize I can do this for my mentees. I can use Freud's theory that if you let other people solve their own problems, I can reduce my biases. I can help guide them to something that works for them because it works for them, not because I told them that it works for them.
Yeah.
And we could go down a route where I'm just genuinely curious about why you said this or why you said that. What does this mean? What does that mean? Let me repeat to you what you're saying, because for me, it sounds like this. Are you sure it sounds like that? Because that's how I'm here. So I started to actively listen. And I ask questions and conversations that I've never asked in my entire life. I was scared of asking those questions because it would expose me too. And I felt like I was digging instead of being curious.
Yeah, man. Everything's about being like more questions than answers, I feel like, is the way to growth. And being in the presence of other people where you can just have the time to ask questions rather than being like slapped with, like you were saying, a prescribed answer. It's just like, that's just school again. You are given information that you are then going to have to sit down and process and figure out how it applies to what you have going on. Where literally I will pay, and I'm sure literally that's what you were doing. I will pay somebody for the hour just so I can ask questions in the direction of what I don't understand, whether that's taxes, whether that's something that I'm pitching that I have no idea what somebody of this volition on the other side is going to expect. I will literally pay like hundreds of dollars for an hour to be like, yo, I made this for this person. Did I cover everything? And like, that's just better than just cookie cutter, nobody listening. Because at the end of the day, you're going to have to put the dots together. But if you can vomit your confusion and then have somebody walk through that for you, is so much more valuable.
Yes. So that's also why I'm going to therapy, is that I realize my head and my brain is like, we have 1,000 branches, and my therapist can't even keep up with me sometimes. And I need someone to reel me in and make connections for me. Like I just can't do that for myself. I don't think anyone really can. He even has a hard time keeping up. But I'm trying to do this similar thing with my mentees. I'm just making connections where they didn't see was existing. I'm trying to make them connect their brains so that they have a guide, so that they have a path that they created for themselves, right? Like it takes a lot more energy away from me too. So I'm less. They don't steal my energy, right? So it makes me feel a lot more how do you call it, scalable. Like I can just keep doing this forever. And also with that, like in my bi-weekly meetings, I take 10 steps back. I don't say anything really. I just get the crowd, the movement, the energy going. I facilitate these conversations to be open, transparent, and fun, because I don't believe that my perspective's right, or the only one. At least I think it's sometimes right. I think it's sometimes useful, sometimes helpful, but it's not the only one. And I want to hear everyone else's perspectives under the sun, and then maybe I'll come in and wrap that up like a little neat bow, and to be like, well, I heard you, and you, and this is what everyone else thinks. Is there an underlying pattern? Is anybody right? Subjective. That's all subjective. What's right and wrong is completely subjective, and it's whatever you believe in at the end of the day. So can I help you believe in whatever you think is right?
And I think so. And I think I like what you said about, I never thought about like that, or the way that you said it, where you are setting up your calls in a way where you're kind of like reflecting back at the people who are talking. So, because that's actually another interesting thing. I'm sure it seems that you're very into just like mental health, reading self-help books, and just psychology in general. And I'm always like, I'm along the line of the same thought where it's just like, I don't like people telling me what to think and or do. There's a lot of, I forget the word for it. Stubbornness in here, but
Yeah.
I like how you're saying my job is to be a mirror when talking to people. One, that allows me to save my own energy, but it also helps the other person a lot better than if I were to interject my own thoughts and things of that nature. It's good. It's good insight right there.
Yeah. And this is the type of stuff that I reflect on with myself in my own alone time. Like I am thinking about these kind of things and I'm letting myself think about these things, it's crazy. Like how even if I think about how much I've changed over a year and a half, you're allowed to change this amount. You're allowed to be different, and you shouldn't hold yourself back on what other people tell you. So that's why I just keep trying things and try to put myself out there and try to fight the norm and fight whatever anybody else thinks about me by just doing the opposite. Like, what's more powerful? You watching a video about psychology and you're like, oh man, I gotta do this, or oh man, I gotta do it like this. And then when you're about to do it, you're thinking in the back of your head like, oh man, did I do that right? Oh shoot. Watch this. I tried that out. It felt good. Next. It felt like me. Next. That's like my brain now. I felt like me. Next. Whatever.
Yeah.
Like today felt like me. I felt like I got whatever I wanted to say. All right, what's next?
I'm done with this interview. I've gotten what I got out. All right, Rosie, Heather, Jason, I'll see you guys. No, what's we call it? Yeah, no, I hear you on that. I'm trying to get in a place where it's just being able to. What you're saying is grading yourself and how you go about your life on your own like scale. Have your own scale for, did that feel like me? Okay, yes or no. All right. If no, let's find something else that feels more like that seems very comfortable. Because to be a little bit more transparent, like that is actually something that I struggle with, where it's like some things I'm pushed to do just because I know it will not only be good for what I want to do in the future, but it's also things that are like expected of me by other people that I'm involved with. And it's just like sometimes we move further and further of what is, like you said, feels like me. And of course we're allowed to change, but sometimes those things don't feel comfortable. And it's really weird to distinguish, is it me changing or is the stuff that I'm doing really something that I'm not for or feel comfortable? And it's hard to figure out, oh, do I just want to be comfortable? Am I allowed to feel comfortable? Am I allowed to strive to change? Like those are hard things for me to balance, whether they're just comfortable for comfortability's sake or just like, am I moving into a new sort of arena? I don't know.
I think for you, what I would say, and again, so this is what I always preface in my calls and this disclaimer is that, this is just my perspective. You don't, if it doesn't make sense for you, don't listen to me. If it doesn't make your heart want to leap out, if it doesn't make you want to go out, jump out of your chair and like do the thing, then don't listen to me. Like if it doesn't make you want to say hell yeah, and like, because I felt that feeling before. I felt that stress, right? That stress that I know I got to do something that makes me feel really uncomfortable, but I got to do it anyway because it's actually good for me.
It's you like that right there. You just said it's like, it's the good, bad, pimple. But great. Yeah.
Yes. You had a stress. I've got a stress pimple twice during my job search because some person like destroyed my resume and destroyed my cover letter, but she had the qualifications and she had the right knowledge. But my brain was like, oh my God, I'm feeling so insecure about my entire past because she completely teared it apart. But I knew that I had to do it, and I knew that this uncomfortability is not going to last. It's temporary. Everything is temporary. So you have to just pick and choose when you want to feel that uncomfortableness. Is it going to last? No. Is it going to last for a couple of weeks? Maybe. But then once it gets out of that uncomfortability, you can do whatever you want.
Got you. Man, this has been a really good chat, dude. I like we got on a lot of amazing topics, and I wanted to close out. I'm going to let you close out for us. What can we expect and or see from Jarell Alvarez in the next coming year, month? What are the plans, and where can we find you?
Yeah, so I still love doing these kind of events. I want to do them more. Brandon, I'm going to be on here again. You know that. We're chatting. You're on my Slack.
Yeah.
So, I have a lot of goals and I have a lot of aspirations, but I also just want to chill. Like I was telling you earlier yesterday that like I want to hide under a rock. So I just got to balance my feeling of hiding under a rock for a couple of weeks and, taking over Vancouver and putting Vancouver in the world stage like this. It's a fine line. It's a fine balance, but I'm just going to keep doing more lives and I'm just going to keep putting myself out there and just have fun and just do it the way that I want to do it and do it the way that makes my energies feel in sync with who I am. Yeah, you can find me. I have my Slack community. If anyone, Jason or Rada or Maggie or Rex want to put into the link below, please.
Links are down in the descriptions.
It's in the descriptions. You got it. I'll be there. I'm active as hell. I just enjoy talking to people, meeting new people, and seeing how I can either be a cheerleader for you or I can help you. Either one. I don't care. Like, I just like doing both, and I'll do that for you until the day that my skull cracks.
Well, let's hope that your skull doesn't crack, but you'll always be there. But, man, I just want to say thank you very much. I'm going to close out the show for us. You can decide to stay chill, and we can talk a little. Actually, I got to run to another call a minute late. But I want to thank you guys for coming out. Jerrell, thank you so much. And until next time, guys, we will see you on the next one. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Jason, Heather, all the Rosie, Laura, all you guys, thanks for hanging out. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out.
Yes, Seattle's are allowed to come. You're a neighbor. Anyone can come to Vancouver. Anyone's allowed to come to Vancouver. Come in. Jason is in like San Fran right now. We got Rex. I think he's in San Fran too. Like whatever, man. If you're in international, come on through. I love having you.
All right, cool guys. All right, take it easy, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.
See you.
Ooh, I messed up.
How? Oh, you put in the wrong name. Oh my God!
It's not there. Hold on. Hold on, guys.
I'm going on YouTube. No, I'm going on YouTube.
Leave me alone. Oh God. No, we're still here. We're still here. Hold on. All right, guys. You guys are seeing the sausage being made right now. Hold on.
Oh my God! There's some eggs. It's not yolked properly. It's spilling all over my rice. I'm feeling a little imposter syndrome because I'm literally an imposter in the screen.
Oh my God. All right, we'll see you guys. Peace. So much for joining us today for Delicious Discussions. We hope you got all the answers to the questions your hearts desired. If you still have some questions for us, either our guests or myself, links to our socials and other forms of chatting with us are in the links in the description. Also, do not forget to subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed today's episode so that you get notifications the next time we go live with another amazing guest. And lastly, if you're looking to have insightful chats with friendly mentors and the ability to book and learn from over 3,146 mentors from world-class companies, that's a mouthful, join the ADPList global community today at ADPList.org. With that said, I hope you enjoyed the rest of your day, and we'll see you on the next one. Your favorite host, Brandon Groce, out.